Hi, my name is Kirsten Schnell. I'm a 4th grade teacher in Northern Colorado, and this is the Crazy Cat Classroom. Before I get started, I want to show you my outfit. I got this new skirt for my birthday from my sister, and it has cats on it, which makes my heart very happy. And then I'm wearing this just white, nice blouse tank top that I got from one of my friends. We do a clothing swap every quarter or so. So I got that from this. So I just thought it was really cute to go with the cat skirt. And as I'm speaking, here's the star. He's like so happy because I took him for a walk outside. So he's just loving on me lately. He's so happy. This is Leo, if you don't already know. And he is my inspiration for the Crazy Cat Classroom. Last year, I discovered sketchnoting. And what sketchnoting is when you do a visual representation with words and pictures to display your notes. The first reason why I like sketchnoting is because it forces me to look back at my notes, either because I was not able to finish the notes or just want to look at them because they're really nice to look at. The second reason why I really like sketchnoting is because someone like me, who's a visual learner, I obtain so much more information by drawing pictures. And then 3, I'm actually paying closer attention to what the speaker is saying and really pulling out those important details rather than writing down everything that they said, which I was that person because I thought everything a speaker said was important. So those are some reasons why I personally like sketchnoting. Now I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally fine, but I definitely took to a fish in water. And so I wanted to show you some of the sketch notes that I made for a conference that I went to back in February, and it was a literacy conference. And so, you know, it could be as simple. You see, I drew it out, but I hadn't finished them. This one I like. I really like this one. It talked about robots and how you can use robots within literacy. And I really liked her description of their writer's workshop. I love the visual. And you can see the notes aren't completely finished. I definitely want to go back and add color and some outlining. But I always draw my notes in pencil and then go back over it with pen. I don't always do that, like this one I didn't, but I am somewhat perfectionist orientated, and so I want them to really look pretty, but they don't have to. So, some of you might be wondering how I sketchnote. And I want to show you. What's really awesome is that in about 15 minutes, I'm going to be listening to a keynote speaker. I was supposed to go to a conference this week, and so instead of going, they're putting everything on as a virtual learning space. So sometimes when I'm at conferences and I don't have time to sketchnote, I'll write it down on sticky notes and then sketchnote it later. However, that takes up a lot of time. And so what I've been doing is, so this is the page for the conference that I'm currently at. I mean, I have some like random little notes over here, but this is the page. I always sticky note in my bullet journal where to turn. So my notes from the other conference is this purple, and then this one is this green. So this was the first day keynote and talked about reflection. And then this was the breakout session that I went to about how online learning or online school could teach us about remote learning. And then yesterday's was experience. I really love this page. I feel like I did a really good job with the white space. And it just flows very nicely. I really am enjoying this page. And then this was the breakout session. It talked about building relationships and establishing routines, especially through the online platform. Today is not the last day. We have tomorrow as well, but today is the last day for the breakout sessions. You do have, what I really am loving is the discussions of those breakout sessions afterwards, so I can really hear perspectives of different teachers. And so I'm really excited for today's keynote that's going to start in 15 minutes exactly, because today's going to be about growing. So the first day was about reflecting over the state of our country and the state of where everyone's at. Yesterday was talking about our experiences being learners, and then our students' experiences being learners, and how there's this really beautiful thing that is happening with distance learning in the sense that students are taking ownership for their work and their learning. Not every student, but most. Like, I had a student who built a desk. I had a student who learned how to sew and how to write out a checkbook and learned cursive, because those aren't things that they teach you anymore in school. And so those life skills, I think, are beautiful ways where students could demonstrate learning in really practical ways. Imagine the student learning area, perimeter, measurement. That's like all of my 4th grade math standards for measurement and data in building the desk or in sewing a project. Anywho's, so today's about growing. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys over to my dining room table, because I have not been working at my desk because it's upstairs and it's been about 90 degrees here lately, and that's just too hot to be upstairs. So I'm going to take you over to my kitchen table. I'm going to show you all of my tools, and then I'm just going to get started. There will be I'll speed up the video and play some music, and you can watch me sketchnote. And then at the end, I'll explain why I chose certain pictures and everything like that. All right, so I'll see you over there. So here's my dining room table. It's a little messy, but so I have this basket that I take up to my desk every single day. It has a few of my journals in it. It has some chargers, and then it has the most important part, these jars of my felt tip pens. And then it has this jar with scissors, markers. I love these markers because on one end, focus for me. It's not. There we go. On one end, it's a brush tip, and on the other end, it's a fine tip. And then, so I have my markers, have my water bottle, which is currently empty, so I'll need to fill that. Have my coffee. Now, here's my laptop. I'm going to figure out a way, because I have this ring light. I'm going to figure out a way, because this cannot point down when it's connected. So we'll see how this goes. I might have to put you guys on some books for you to see down into my drawing space. But we'll see how this works. Guys, so here I am sitting at my dining room table. This is right before my next session, but I didn't want to then sketch note my next session just because that would make this video very long. But before my next session, I want to go over the notes that I did for the key speaker. So it was about growing. So I always start with a title, and I like to make it like, you know, related to what it is. So if it was innovation, I might put a light bulb, but since it was about growing, I put kind of like a pretty vine-esque cursive. And then they're like big question or a question to reflect. I always put a little brain and then write the question. I also write out other questions if need be. But what she really talked about was our implicit bias. Oh, here. It's kind of backwards, but implicit bias and how we really need to focus on that student growth and not think about their explicit bias. She talked about 4 ways to do this, and the one was reflecting, and she really talked about our why and growing our why. And then the learner outcomes such as agency, collaboration, and real-world problem solving. She also talked about holding high expectations for learners, and so really making sure that we're holding students accountable to the things that we know that they're capable of. She talked about inclusiveness as far as differentiated learning, and she suggested 2 books, Innovate, Inside the Box, and How to Be an Anti-Racist, which I've heard a lot about lately. So those are 2 books that I'm really excited to get. And then Challenging the Status Quo. And so just because we've done it the old way for so long, there could be this better way. But also remember that we need to share our experience and our evidence on how this better way is better, as well as help build up students' strengths rather than focus on their weaknesses, which I, being dyslexic, really hone in. I really focus on, okay, what are your strengths and how can I make you believe that you are capable of doing amazing things? So that's sketchnoting. I am going to say adios for right now. I'll show you after my session here what I sketchnote and explain that. And then I'll end the video. So I'll see you guys in just about a little bit. Okay, so I finished my breakout session and here, the thing's a little wonky. I finished my breakout session and I sketchnoted, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that in parentheses or quotation marks real quick. And then I had the discussion, which I really love the discussions afterwards because that's where my questions can get answered. That's where I can hear other ideas. So it's not finished. So I'll need to spend some time going back because it was on interpret that picture in the center. It says student. So there's a student and then there's all these 1s and 0s. So, what could my session have been? And notice that the student's in the center. Student-centered digital learning. Isn't that awesome? I love him. All right, so there was 4 different presenters. And what I appreciated about these presenters is that they came from all different parts in education. So there were people who worked as a nonprofit. There were people who worked in the classroom as a first grade teacher. There was a home and what is it called? It's not home ec anymore. Oh, come on. Home and commuter sciences. I'm so sorry if you're that teacher and I can't think of it. Anyways, they had one of those teachers, which I would have loved that class. Like they talked about interior design and anyways. And then they had another gentleman, I believe he is a teacher. He talked very, very fast. So I just quickly wrote down what they were talking about because of how quickly they went through their stuff. And I'm going to go back through and kind of go look through their presentations again and draw what I like or see. So, because there was just all this information thrown at me right away, I'm not going to do that now. I will do that later. So that's what I love about sketchnoting is the flexibility in I can finish my notes when I want. Now I understand that not everyone has that luxury, versus you can tell that this speaker didn't speak super fast. I mean, she did speak fast. She had really good points, but her main points were spaced out relatively well, where I was able to get the big picture and think about the big picture. So I guess you could say that's one way to sketchnote, is when it's super fast, when they're a super fast talker, just write down and then go back later. And that's why I always carry around a pencil. Or here, let me go back to, or sticky note and go back later. So, like I said at the beginning, that's one reason why I love sketchnoting, is that it forces me to look back at my notes. I just want to say, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more sketchnoting videos, hit that like button. If you enjoyed this video and want to see other videos that I post in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ding the notification bell so that you are notified anytime I upload a new video. Also, I want to say a huge thank you to Edco, which is the conference that I was attending online. 1, it was 3, and 2, I won a prize for a Google certification, first certification, which is awesome. As always, remember that when you believe in yourself, you can change the world. See ya!